Hey everybody, David here from What Drives You, and today we're going to be talking about Battery Day. It was definitely an exciting event. I know some people in the media decided to downplay it, and the stock went down after the announcements, but definitely some very exciting news came from Battery Day, and I'd like to go over a few points of what Tesla did talk about, and also suggest a few other videos that you should go check out for yourself. Some other people have made some really good commentary on Battery Day and what this means for Tesla. So first off, they didn't actually mention a 1,000,000-mile battery, which is, I think, the buzzword or term that a lot of people were trying to, or a lot of people were expecting to hear from Battery Day. But the truth is that, and you can go check out some other videos by Rob Maurer at Tesla Daily, and Hyperchange. You got Galley at Hyperchange. Some great videos talking about how really they actually already have the ability to do 1,000,000-mile batteries. It's really just a trade-off between price, performance, and range, as well as the longevity of the battery. So for some applications, such as a power wall in your house, obviously it's going to make sense to have very long cycle life batteries, whereas in a car you probably want to trade off some performance for some of that longevity. So they really did do a great job of explaining the difference between the two and how they're going to produce batteries for those different applications. Very interesting how they decided to have different battery chemistries for different purposes, and how they plan to put them all in the same form factor of battery that is the most cost beneficial form factor. So talking about the cell, they went over how they went from the 1865 or 18650, as it has been called in the past, size cell, to the 2170 cell in the Model 3 and Model Y. And for this new cell that they have produced, it is a 4680. So they talked about how the diameter of the cell decreased the cost. So they found a sweet spot at 46 millimeters diameter that got the cost where they wanted, while the performance and improvement was still a maximum. They looked for a new form factor that would be the best of both worlds. The interesting thing is they didn't actually say how long it would be for cars to supercharge. However, this chart that they put out here, I talked about how tabless design of the cell removes the problem with heat in the cell, which means, really, if you look at this chart, it doesn't say how much quicker that the supercharging time would be, but it seems like it would be very similar to the 2170, if not better. Plus, it has a higher density and all of that. So we could be seeing some better supercharging times from this cell, and definitely with the fact that it's 54% more range. If nothing else, the fact that the battery is more efficient, you would get more range. So you would get more range in the same amount of time in a 4680 cell versus the 2170 cell. So they did not announce anything, but I really think they did not announce official times anything, because they do not want to announce how much better these batteries are, because they are continuing to sell the current batteries in their current cars, and they don't want people to immediately stop purchasing cars and waiting until next year when they would start to be available. But if you want to get the new cell technology, just go ahead and place a pre-order for the Cybertruck. You're probably not going to get it until 2022 or later, but if you do place that order now, you lock in this new technology and you lock in the cost for full self-driving, which is likely to go up. But that's a topic for another day. When they talked about the tabless design, it was simpler for manufacturing, as they said, fewer parts, and a 5 times reduction in electrical path. So they got 5 times the energy density, 16% better range just from the form factor, and a 6 times power increase. Now, again, they did not say exactly what this means for the performance of vehicles. However, they did announce the Model S Plaid, which will go 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds and go over 200 miles per hour. So with a range of over 520 miles coming out at the end of next year, and we already know that the Cybertruck, which is huge, will have a range of over 500 miles for the tri-motor version, which I am sure is going to have the same battery technology in it. So we know that it's going to be great for performance and for range. So we already know that from the Cybertruck and the Plaid. They talked a little bit about how they manufacture the cells, and they already have a line that they are testing out for the production of these cells. So they're going to ramp it up to over 100 gigawatt hours in 2022. And for reference, so right now they get around 35 gigawatt hours from Giga Nevada, from Panasonic, and they're going to essentially triple that production within the next 18 months or so, which means that they are going to be producing more themselves than Panasonic is able to produce right now. Most likely, other battery manufacturers are going to try to catch up with what Tesla is doing, and the overall battery production is going to ramp up greatly across the world. But it is amazing that Tesla has really taken the forefront on this. They have created this design for the manufacturing. They have created the form factor and have a plan for how to get the materials. A 14% reduction in the cost per kilowatt based on just the form factor. The cost for manufacturing the cell is greatly reduced because they have a dry electrode process, and they have a 10 times smaller footprint to produce the same amount of gigawatt hours. So that's 18% reduction in manufacturing, a cheaper source of materials, and they talked about the diversified approach to putting cathodes in different batteries for different applications. So they have the long cycle life iron base, they have the nickel and manganese long range, and they have the high nickel production for the Cybertruck and Tesla Semi. And they talked about how it is much easier to recycle the materials straight from the batteries. So after about 10 years, when we start to have the need to recycle a lot of batteries, a lot of those materials can be directly sourced from the cells that have already been produced, which means it is much more sustainable. Finally, they talked about how they were going to put these batteries in the vehicle. So they're going to integrate the cells into the bottom of the vehicle, just like they do now. They put it in the bottom of the vehicle, but they have a new manufacturing process where these cells are actually going to create the physical structure of the bottom of the vehicle. So the vehicle is going to be much more rigid, and it's also going to be much more energy dense because you're going to be able to put more batteries in that same amount of space. Because right now in the Model 3 and Model Y, they have separate modules and a bunch of cooling in between those battery cells. So they eliminate all of that cooling in between the cells and the modules. So the different modules split up by steel supports, and you can just put the battery, all the cells right next to each other, and the cooling on the bottom. Sandy Munro has an awesome video. You should check that out. I'll put a link down below for that. But Sandy Munro did an awesome video talking about how that's going to be great for the structure of the vehicle, much cost savings for that structure, as well as it is very impressive for how much more they can put in. So how much more energy they can put in the pack. So if they just think about this, if currently they have about 75 kilowatt hour battery packs in the Model 3 and Model Y for around 320 miles range, they could put 54% more range in the same density, and it will cost them 56% less to do that. So incredible savings for the battery production and how they're going to fit it into the vehicle. Again, in about 18 months, this is going to start appearing in all of their products, and they don't want to really announce when they're going to switch over for the Model 3 and Model Y, but you know that they're definitely going to do so when it's available, because it's going to make a great reduction in the cost that they can use. they can do a trade-off. They can either lower the cost and put the same amount of range, or they can increase the range, or they can do a little bit of both. They can increase the performance and the range and drop the cost. So very exciting news for Tesla Battery Day. And it is amazing to me how much media has just kind of dogged Battery Day, and investors seem to be backing out. But I think it's just a traditional buy the rumor, sell the news type thing. If you are really paying attention to what Tesla announced, it is extremely exciting news. So Tesla's going to be basically running circles around all the other manufacturers, because they have a plan now of how they're going to produce more batteries at cheaper costs and be able to produce a $25,000 vehicle, which, if you factor in the cost savings of a total cost of ownership for a current vehicle, the Model 3 is already better total cost of ownership as compared to the average priced internal combustion engine vehicle. So what did you think? Were you as excited about Battery Day as I was? It was amazing, I thought. All the things that they announced, the plan to get the cost down and the performance up of all of their battery cells is incredible. And within about 3 years, they're planning to produce that $25,000 vehicle, which means they're going to have a fully electric vehicle. And I'm sure it's going to be quite an amazing vehicle available to the mass market. So every amount that they can get off of the cost of their current vehicles means the more people that can afford to purchase their vehicles. Just wanted to make a quick video on Tesla Battery Day. Very exciting news that Tesla came out with on Battery Day, and I would highly recommend that you go check out their video, the full video. Probably skip through the shareholder meeting because that was extremely boring. So I think that's the first half of it or so. And then they talk about some more exciting things with Battery Day and the year in review. And of course, we still have lots of videos coming out on the Model 3 and Model Y. Recently took a road trip, and that's why we did not actually get this video out sooner. Was out of town on Battery Day, so it was a little bit difficult to get anything done while we were gone. But I will have a video going over the road trip and what it was like to travel in the Model Y. So we did our first road trip in the Model Y. And we'll talk about supercharging and the cost for a road trip and all of that. So definitely want to subscribe so you don't miss that. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.